need those plugins because many of your premium themes for WordPress contain the capability to do that built right in. So just take a look at what you got and see what you need. Maybe your theme does it for you already. If it doesn't, then use one of the plugins. All right. Now, one of the best things you can do is use the Webmaster tools. It can help you diagnose and analyze problems. Google Webmaster gives that to you, Google gives that to you for free, and it's called Google Webmaster Tools. Now, I'm not going to train you how to use the tools, but there's lots of alerts and warnings and SEO things that tell you what's wrong with your site inside these tools. So I told you how to set yourself up in a number of different lessons inside of layered traffic, but didn't talk specifically about the alerts. So if you want to learn in detail about the Google Webmaster tools, they have a great video that teaches you just that. All right, it's about a 10-minute, a little over 10 minutes, and you just go ahead. You can see that you know, this young lady here teaches you all about it, and so just put it to work. Make it work for your website. All right, so next thing you need to do on your page is review your internal links. To become a penguin pounder and not be subject to being beat up by any animal that comes around by Google, you need to check your internal link structure. These are the links on your website pointing to other pages on your website. Okay, so you've created links. If you were ranked already, you did create links. I'm sure you did, pointing to other pages on your website. You want to review those links and make sure that they meet a certain structure. This is a ratio that Market Samurai has done a lot of testing on over the last couple months as the penguins came running around, and they released it in a report. And I'm going to give you access to that report too, even though it's kind of hard to find at the moment. But this ratio is a guideline. It's not hard and fast numbers. So if you have 41% and 39% and 21%, or I don't know, it has to add up to 100, but it doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to get crushed by Google and their penguins. All right, these are guidelines, and you want to be around these numbers to make them happen. So the first one is 40% of your links that you make internally to other pages should use what's referred to as branded keywords, things like the name of your program. Like I have this instructional course called Layered Traffic. So I would want 40% of the links to use the name Layered Traffic or my site URL, www.yourtrafficstarterblog.com, right? Or other things, go to layered traffic or something like that as my anchor text, right? So what's the anchor text? We teach that to you in the core layer, but that's a quick review. If you go on any web page or you look at an email you received, and there's some text there that you click to go to a web page or go to a different location, that text is said to be hyperlinked, and that text itself is called the anchor text. Okay, so you want 40% of that anchor text to say something like the name of your program or contain the name of your program, or your business, if that's what your business name, if that's what the website's about, or just the URL for your business. Okay, does that make sense? So that's what we want. It's a guideline now. Don't try to make absolute numbers here. Okay, this is a guideline. I know some of you are going to come back and tell me, you told me 40%, and I will tell you, no, I didn't, because I didn't. I told you it's a guideline. All right, so the next one, 40% generic anchor text. So these are words that are not your keywords, that are not your program or your actual URL. These are things like click here, go here now, take me there. I'm sending you to this web page. Go see this now. Things that just aren't keywords or branded anchor text. That kind of anchor text is, you want 40% of those. Okay, does that make sense? So that's anything. It's almost everything else. The rest is, remember, part of what you did in your setup was create. You found your 5 golden keywords, and that's, if you're just starting layered traffic, those are the keywords you're going to be using as your anchor text, and you want 20% of your links to use that anchor text. So you want to make it when they see that keyword, that golden keyword in your web page, and you make it hyperlinked or anchor text to another page with similar content on your website. All right. So other basic elements you want to make sure you have include having a sitemap. Now, a sitemap is just a map for the search engines. You need one for search engines and for humans. So you should make a web page that's a human sitemap that lists all your pages in your website. And I think there's plugins to do this. Many themes actually generate this automatically for you. But this is for humans, so if they get the wrong page or whatever, or they're just trying to find something, they can go through that page and find the link back into your website that they're looking for, or they think they're looking for. There's also the search engine sitemap, and we teach you in the core layers to use the Google XML sitemap plugin because it makes it for you automatically. But there's also places on the web that will make this for you for free if you don't have WordPress. But make sure if you're using WordPress, use the Google XML sitemap plugin. If you're not, just do a search on the web for online XML sitemap generator, okay? Or something around those words. Do a search for that. There's free ones online, and they're good. They'll make you the file for you automatically. All right? So don't think you can't do this. You most certainly can. All right, you also need a robot.txt file. Now, WordPress creates a virtual robot.txt file automatically, but you may need to make a manual one if you have other directories you need to have read or not read by search engines. And that's what the purpose of this file is. And we talk about that, I don't remember where in the layer traffic, on one of the advanced layers, I believe. But the robot.txt helps the search engines know speed up how fast they can get through your site, because they know where to go and where not to go in your site using that file. So you want to have that file, okay? And there are free sites to make this for you. You don't have to figure out how to make it. Just go to one of the free sites, do a similar search as for the XML sitemaps, find one of the free sites and make one of these files and put it on your website. A good webmaster would already know how to do this. So if you're working with a webmaster, ask him if you have a robot.txt. If he says no, tell him to get one. Have a privacy policy page. There's actually, well, I think there may be some legal requirements in some states, but in most cases it's not actually a legal requirement. But you do want to have it because the search engines are looking for it to be there, to be a sign of good stewardship or whatever, that you're not trying to trick anybody, and Google is looking for it, and it will enhance your ability to get ranked by having that privacy policy page. All right, a contact page with a real address on it. Even if you're a virtual business like me, put a real address on there so that people can send you mail if they need to. And it's not so they can visit you. You know, my contact page where I have a real address written there on Think Big and Grow Media, it has a real address, but it tells people I'm a virtual business, so don't try to visit me at this address. I just wrote it right in there. Okay? What are you scared of? Write it. Tell them. All right? You're not trying to be tricky. Be honest. Honesty works pretty good. Carefully select links between your pages. All right? So don't just make this linking random. Make the links between your pages, the best links between the pages, to the most relevant content. And the way to do this and to make these best links between content is to do it manually. There are plugins that will do this, but doing it manually ensures that particularly on older websites that the deep content is linked with the newer content, so that it keeps people moving through your entire website. All right, that's important. A lot of these automated plugins for WordPress don't look deep. They find the first related content and link to it automatically. So that isn't bad that they link to the next related content. It's bad that they don't ever go to the deep content. So you need to do that, and the way to do that is manually. All right, so do this manually, particularly on your main business website. If you're doing this automated, you need to verify whether or not it actually goes deep or not. There may be plugins that do go deep, but you need to verify it, okay? It's very important, particularly for larger sites where you had problems beating the penguins. And if you want to be a penguin pounder, then you need to check this out and then set up some links manually from your newer content to related older content deep inside your site. That's stuff from years ago, as long as it's relevant. So is your site loading fast? That's very important. Just from a user perspective, what do you do when a site won't load? You try it a couple of times, maybe, and then you leave, right? So a slow loading site causes visitors to leave, and you don't want that to happen. You need them to stay and to go searching around your site. So here's a link where you can go to test the speed of your site. It tells you what to do, but you can pretty much tell just by looking at it. If you load your page and you have to sit there for 2 seconds or more waiting for it to load, the chances of people leaving the site before it ever loads is pretty high, and it will count against you. So let's just say 2 pages are seen exactly equivalent in value to Google or any search engine, but your page loads slower than the other page. The faster loading page is going to be ranked the highest, okay? That's just the way it is. Whether you think it's right or not doesn't matter. So work on find out if your pages are failing to other locations on the link using this site, and if they are, then try to do some things to fix it. Things that slow it down there are plugins that do a lot of interactive stuff on your site, and it doesn't mean that there's a certain number of plugins that cause this to happen. One plugin can cause this to happen, and that's the trick, is figuring out if it is a plugin. Sometimes you have to go through your plugins and just turn them all off and see if it changes how fast your pages load. If it does, then start turning them on one at a time, and then reload your page in a separate browser or a separate computer and see where it starts slowing down on you. All right. There are lots of plugins that are very interactive that go searching through your content for various things, and they do slow you down. JavaScripts that do all kinds of functions on your page. Your webmaster will know what these are if you don't. But if you have like 5, 6, 7 scripts on a page, there's a good chance that they really are slowing you down. So you want to take a look and see if they're really necessary. Large images of high resolution are going to slow you down. You don't need high resolution on a web page. The only place you might need that on your website is if that page is specifically so people can actually download